Okay. Hi. I just recorded one of these. Took me 15 minutes. But Snip Tool just couldn't cut it. So I had to re download OBS from when I tried to become a successful YouTuber. When I was. How old was I? 17. Got 60 subscribers in a week though, so it's alright. But anyway, this one's going to be a lot less enthusiastic because I'm a bit annoyed. Just a bit annoyed at it, really. Anyway, so we'll start off over here. These are barrels. These are not my assets. I did not make these. But you'll notice as you get further away from the center, the assets become just generic ones because they were just kind of used to fill in the empty space, really. So when I first made this, it was originally just these three shops. But every time I tried to get a nice screenshot of just the three of them, as you can see here, for the most part, what's that? All three of them don't fit on. So I just made, this extension to it really just to frame it because these trees were originally the frame. I wanted the trees to be the cut-off point, which kind of works, but it just makes everything feel a little bit cramped. So then I extended it outwards, and then the mounds of dirt became the frames. So these mounds, they are mega scans. Mega scans are something that you'll find on the Epic Marketplace for Unreal Engine, and you'll find them in countless games. It's just a really good way of easily creating things that are difficult to create for no reason. Things like trees and bushes and all that kind of stuff. Like the ivy is also a mega scan thingy. So yeah. Interesting to note though, a lot of bigger game companies don't actually make their own foliage, especially obviously indie companies aren't big game companies, but indie games, they tend to just not make their own foliage because it's a difficult task. It's a heck of a thing to do. Like I've tried making my own foliage before, and it takes far too long, and the results just aren't it. So these mega scans, the scans of real life objects that are optimized and fine tuned, and yeah. So to be fair, you could kind of do it yourself if you got your LiDAR out on your phone and just scan a bunch of things, you'll be all right. But yeah, so these are big mounds of dirt. I just wanted to have the kind of idea that everything had collapsed in from the sides. And in my head when I was making this, I wanted it to be like this is the only trace of humanity left, and everything is being swept away by these big walls of dirt that are closing in on them. And it's just interesting to think that Stoke-on-Trent, Hanley, it's the centre of the world now, guys. But yeah, so we'll start off with the buildings, really. The buildings, this bit, the front, the facade, it's just a copy and paste of this one because what am I going to do, make a whole new thing? No, not doing that. But the first thing to note, actually, is the texture resolution on the walls. By the time I realised that I was doing something wrong with it, it was too late to go back because I'd have to re-import everything, remodel everything, and I just wasn't going to do that. So, in all of my renders, I kind of tried to ignore the walls as much as possible, or, just kind of stay far away enough that it's not noticeable, or when you do get closer to the walls, it's displaying a decal over the wall, or there are plants in the way. They're the only times you'll see the walls up close. But yeah, so obviously you got your pipe here. I wanted this to be like like the sewage lines are being pushed out of the ground. Everything's just been shaken up underneath. It's interesting to think of. And this is something I did that I never get about games that do it. So when you're in Fallout, right? Fallout was a great example of it. You'll see a lot of buildings that are just boarded up, and it's like, who boarded those up? Because the bombs went off. You're not just going to board your house up. That's just not something you do. Unless you were, a survivor trying to protect yourself from hordes of mutants. You're not just going to board it up with plywood, though, are you? You know what I mean? I just thought it'd be a funny little thing to do, really. So, I did it, guys. But then we look inside of the buildings, and got furniture here. Oh, I can't see now. This is just generic furniture, except for this TV. Obviously, that's a JMCO Industries television. You can tell from the logo. But yeah, these interiors are just very, very low effort. They were just designed for just in case the light does catch. see we've got some clipping going on, but you don't see it, so it doesn't matter. Just in case the light does catch for windows and you can see inside, I don't want it to just be pitch black. I want it to be obvious that there are things up here. So, you know, we've got the TVs, got computers, got some bunk beds. Everything is just, you know, Unreal Engine marketplace assets. So, yeah. And then heading down, this is just a copy and paste of Serial. Copy and paste of Serial Bar. Couldn't be bothered making a new one. Not going to make a new one. Couldn't even be bothered just fitting the door into it. So, you know, guys. But yeah, News Cruise is my absolute favourite one. You can see the camera here. Yeah, love that. News Cruise is my favourite one. I just love it. But there's nothing else I can say about it. It's just brilliant. And I like how I've wrapped the lamp around the tree. Nice detail, Jacob. Nice work. But yeah, the sign just looks great. The door looks great. And you've got the classic, you're cruising for a newsin slogan, which I'm a really big fan of. I'll tell you. So, News Cruise officially became part of the JMCO Industries lore, you know, LORE, in 2023 when I was doing my final major project for college. So I developed with my group, this crazy, like, story of JMCO Industries. So basically, they take over everything in the world. They take over every company. They own everything. There is nothing that isn't owned by JMCO Industries. And the last independent news outlet was News Cruise. So in the game for my final major project, right, what you have is it's so it's supposed to be based on the dangers and the perspective of AI. So I decided, obviously, being the group leader, I make all the decisions. It's a dictatorship, not democracy, sorry, but, you know, that's just how it works. Kidding, obviously. But, so you go into the computer, right? Because we had, like, a computer sequence where you go into the computer, you mess around on the computer a bit. But we had it so you can visit the News Cruise website, and what you'll see is an article on one day saying JMCO Industries smart home AI kills 5, and then the next news article you'll see is News Cruise joins the JMCO Industries family, and then the one you'll see after that is what was it? Something like smart home killer hoax, nobody harmed, and it was just details like that made it really interesting. But anyway, getting off track there. The TVs are gorgeous. That's all I can say about them. I love these TVs. You saw the render for one in Card Planet. Chef's kiss. Best thing ever. We've got the data decks, or whatever I called it, I don't remember. And it's displaying the date, because that's what it does. And I wanted to make it obvious that it's spring, for in case you had any doubts. So it's the 22nd of April, 2052. So, yeah, that's brilliant. But yeah, on to Card Planet now. Card Planet. What is there to say about it, really? I wanted to do a bit of visual storytelling over here. So I wanted to kind of hint at the idea that somebody has tried to, you know, recover this area in the past, you know, with the wheelbarrow and the spade or shovel, sorry, and just all the clutter around the area. I just thought it'd be interesting to add. And yeah, just obviously generally I actually thought I'd mention, like, everything's really overgrown, you know. Got a load of plants going on, got a load of lovely plants. You see all the, you know, it's like springtime foliage in front of the house, you know, you've got your lush grass. But anyway, yeah, house, Card Planet. I did it this time. So we've got the welcome to sign here, which I'm a big fan of, and if you look closely, you can actually see the dust particles from the Niagara system. There you go, there's one over there. But yeah, it's interesting to see. And then on the floor, it's obviously very dirty. Got a load of grass going on. Always nice to see. Here's the TV that looks gorgeous in the renders. I like how you've got little light shafts coming down and out. You know, it's nice to see. And obviously, one of the things I learned about creating scenes that look visually appealing is that nothing can be straight. Because if you look at a real life space, right, nothing is going to be perfectly parallel to every object. There'll always be some deviance. That one's really close to the camera. So yeah, it's just doing that is a thing that you can do to just really enhance and sell the realism of your scene. But here's the power cache 1000. There you go. Looks absolutely stunning as usual. You got your half-eaten dinner here. You got your keys, and then you got the 2 stools that are not. Oh, no, there's only 1 stool, isn't there? I forgot about that. I don't know what I did with the second stool. Maybe I did it and then it crashed and then I forgot. But yeah, we've got a nice little shelf going on here. You know, you got the lamp because it's the only building with power. Don't know where the power's coming from. Don't ask me. But yeah, it's just really nicely done scene in my opinion. If I were to do it again and have time to do it again, I'd make the walls less reflective because it causes a weird feeling of the building, and maybe I do up this wall a little bit more. It's kind of caused me to not render this very well because the wall just looks horrendous. But yeah, it's nice to see, and I like how there's stuff growing inside because even though it probably wouldn't end up happening in real life, probably need some more vines here actually. Even though it wouldn't end up happening in real life, it just looks nice, you know? But yeah, now heading on to Cereal Bar. This one, I just wanted to make something ridiculous. Who would visit a place that only sells cereal? Not me. Don't know about you, not me. But yeah, we go inside. These aren't my assets. I just wanted something to quickly decorate the scene, and they worked for me. But yeah, when we look into these buildings, actually, you'll notice it's more prevalent on the back. I have these completely matte black planes, and they're designed to just make, you know, add an end cap to the room because I'm not gonna model a whole room. You know, we're not gonna see it, so what's the point? So if we just have it heading back, it'll be fine. But yeah, you can see here it gets really lovely and flowery towards the ends. You know, you can see how this big rubble mountain is just kind of pushing everything in its wake. Got some doors here. This door fell over, but the door frame's fine. So if you want another door, just clean up the rubble. You go and put another door on there. You've got a house, haven't you? You know what they say: a house isn't a home until you got a door. There you go. But yeah, I'll take you around the back again. So like I said, the little matte black things. There was no point in doing anything here because you can't see it because it's completely taken over by that. But yeah, it's nice. These are all just box brush assets. So if I was to actually play this, you know, if it was like an actual game, you wouldn't want to have these because they just destroy performance because they are unoptimized box brush assets. You know, they're not designed to be final assets. They're just designed for things like blockouts. Which reminds me, my level designer on my final major project, he tried making something out of box brushes, and it's like you're supposed to be the best. You're supposed to be the best at this. That's what Alex told me. Why are you making things out of box brushes? Even I could do this better. And I don't specialise in level design. I specialise in doing what I want because I want to be a product designer, not a games designer. And Rob let it happen. So thanks, Rob. Thank you, Robert Perkin. Love that guy. But yeah, I want to explore one more thing, which is going to be the ground. Now, in my studies of grass, my in-depth studies of grass, I realised there's something that could be quite difficult to create is a transition from the, you know, like the concrete pavement into the dirt. So what I did is I have these generic dirt assets. I look at all these newspapers around news crews. I just thought that was really fitting, even though it's been a very long time since whatever disaster happened. The newspapers will be melted away, but it's just a nice detail. Ignore it. But yeah, anyway. So that transition was initially quite difficult to create, but then I used decals. You can actually see the drop downs here. They're the decals, these little guys here. You can see the boundary for it. And it's just a decal UV projection, there we go, they're the words I'm looking for, onto the ground just to make the transition from dirt to concrete a little bit easier. And it's, you know, it's easier to see over here in areas that aren't quite as polluted by grass and clutter. But yeah, I think it's quite nice. I'm a big fan. Yeah. And let's talk about the lighting for a second, actually. So when I think spring, I think this is just my personal perspective and history, I suppose. When I think spring, I don't think of bright days, you know, like a bright, glaring sun. That's summer to me. I think of summer when I think of blazing hot sun. When it comes to spring, and also kind of autumn to an effect, but autumn has that, you know, like the unique aesthetic of having orange trees. But with spring, I associate it with, like the golden hour, wherever the sun is. I don't remember where I put it. Probably behind the volumetric clouds over there. But yeah, I think of the golden hour. And I just think that the golden hour can make anything look brilliant, no matter what it is. You could have the most disgusting looking product ever, and you make the sun look nice, and it will look nice. They're just the rules of it. But yeah, I just think it really adds to it, and having these long dramatic shadows that, just traipse themselves across the entire scene, it leads to something that's really unique looking and really beautiful, in my opinion. Why do I need to add that? It's fact, guys. But yeah, I just know that this, using Unreal Engine, is something I can do to make myself stand out from everybody else who's using not Substance, is it? What do you guys use? Adobe Dimension, yeah. Feel sorry for everybody who has to touch that program, but yeah. Want to just change the song. There you go. You see how it looks nice, right? But it's too overexposed, and it just kind of stops me from really identifying with it. I like this kind of level, between the two, but then anything like this, it just looks washed, And then nighttime, you can't see anything, so don't want that. Where were we before? It was there, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching these 16 minutes of video. Good luck. Well, good luck in past tense.